What's up, guys? If you've been watching my channel in the past few months, you know that I'm a big fan of the Walther PPS, and it's the single stack 9mm subcompact striker fired that Walther released in 2007 or 2008, and I've got two of these. They're really nice guns. There also is a Gen 2 PPS, which has slightly different ergonomics and a button release, but people are wondering why Walther hasn't updated this design or released a new design to compete with the higher capacity microcompacts that, include the SIG P365, the Hellcat, and it seems like everybody's offering one. The Taurus G4, and I can't think of all of them off the top of my head. And, Walther continues to sell the single stack version of the PPS, and it just seems kind of like an anachronism when you've got these guns that are the same size that have almost twice the capacity. So people are just curious what Walther's thinking or not thinking as to why they're not getting in on this presumably very lucrative market. And H&K has an offering that is in the vein of the 365. It's that size, has a double stack mag, and it exists in Europe already under, I forget what it's called, but when it comes here, it'll probably be released under the VP9 brand name. And VP9 brand name only exists in the United States. The guns that are the VP9s here in the States are called something else in Europe. So HK is coming with something, and what can we expect from Walther? Well, a quick look at trademarks and patents bears some interesting fruit. And if you look here, this name PDK is owned by Walther Arms, and I don't have a crystal ball, but when you consider that the name of Walther's line of duty pistols is the PDP, and when you consider that the word compact starts with a K in German, I think we can make some reasonable assumptions there. And like the HK P2000 SK subcompact with a K, I'm gonna guess this is gonna be instead of the performance duty pistol, the performance duty compact. And some of the language here suggests that this patent is still in progress, and like a second request for an extension has been filed. So maybe they're waiting for the name to be cleared legally before they say anything about it. Potentially, it's difficult to know for sure. Also interesting, the name of the double clutch transmission that's used on Porsches is also called PDK, but I think firearms is a different category, so based on my limited understanding of trademark law, as long as it's in a different category, it wouldn't have a potential for infringement, but maybe the lawyers are hashing that out. Now, if we go to the patent website, that was the trademark website. I may have called it the patent website, but that was the trademark website. This is the patent website. But if you search Walther as the applicant, it brings up a bunch of patents for Walther Arms. And these first 7, 8, 10 patents are all done by Walther in like the past few years, dating back to 22 or 21. And if you look at some of the sketches, you see some real interesting things. And looking at this first one here, this is for the loading aid of the firearm, and there we see the back of a slide. So it seems like this is the patent for the, addition that makes it easier to grip when you're pulling back the slide. We see that kind of thing on the VP9 with those little ears that kind of help you pull it back. On that FN Hyper pistol, it had like this plate on the back that I guess fulfilled the same purpose, so maybe they're doing a little bit of that too. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to direct your attention to this right here. And that is presumably the kind of slide rail system that this new gun is going to use, and it seems like the slide is retained centrally in kind of a channel on the center of the frame versus kind of on the sides like just about every other gun. So that is really quite fascinating. And there is a few other sketches that show that in more detail. The extractor seems pretty typical, but the breech guide, that's where it gets interesting, and you kind of see that interesting rail system in more detail. I have to open the PDF apparently. But there you see that slide taken off the frame, and again you can see that kind of central channel that the central rail that the slide is going to ride on. And it's just really interesting that, you know, every other gun just about has the slide rails on the sides. This one looks like they moved it to the center, which is really interesting. And if you read some of the clunky legalese they've got here, it explains that was done to keep the slide slim. And I guess, you know, moving the surfaces that the slide rides on to the center allows them to keep it thinner. And here you can see another view of the frame with that kind of central channel there where, you know, the slide would ride. And then you've got, I guess that's the slide stop and the ejector, and also, this is really interesting. Look at the feed ramp. It almost looks like a two-sided feed ramp, kind of like some rifles, or the Steyr GB, I think, had a dual position feed system, kind of like that. Some submachine guns. So, I mean, there's no guarantee that that's what it is, but that's what it looks like. And not too many pistols use that setup. You can see the trigger and the takedown lever and trigger guard. Again, back of the slide. Just another view of that. Forward slide serrations, overhead view. And again, just jump on the patent website to check some of the stuff out if you're curious. And here you see kind of a side view of the pistol, and little beaver tail. Looks like it's a subcompact design because it's got one of those pinky rests and it just looks kind of small. Maybe an interchangeable backstrap there. Striker fire trigger with a dingus. You know how much I love dinguses, dingai. But a dingus is fine. I mean, it doesn't affect the shooting experience really at all. I don't see anything for a manual safety. I'm a fan of manual safeties on most striker fired guns, but we usually don't see those these days, unless that pivot point there, you know, could be an attachment point for a safety. Looks like it's got iron sights. Looks like it's optic ready. I don't know, 3.5 inch barrel. You know, typical. Looks like it's a Browning style cam. So interesting, and presumably this is going to be the gun that we might see here coming up soon, and presumably it's going to be called the PDK. And a caveat, there's no guarantee that what you see in patents on these websites is actually going to show up in the real world. There's no guarantee that the trademark names are actually going to show up in the real world, but it's suffice to say Walther has thrown a lot of money at something in terms of names and designs and stuff like that. So it would surprise me if we didn't see something, you know. And Walther is having kind of a product announcement this fall. They're calling it like Tech Fest or something. I want to say it's in September. So I think we're probably going to see some new products, and hopefully we might see something that comes out of all this. And hopefully we will have a something that follows in the footsteps of the venerable PPS. And I still love the PPS, and I think it's a great gun. It's a really shootable gun, but we'll see what they come out with. In any case, thank you for watching, and stay tuned.